Hello and welcome to Hamer Reviews. My name is Christopher Hamer and today we're going to be looking at audio in the context of my How I Make My YouTube video series. Now, when it comes to sound quality, there's loads and loads of different influences that can make your sound worse or better, and to be honest with you, it was an area that took me ages to get my head around, and I think I'm still only at that sort of intermediate level of understanding. But hopefully I can give you a few hints and tips in this video on how you can improve the quality of your audio, or at least give you an idea of what to try in order to get to that point. Now, when I started my videos, I actually initially was going to use the built-in audio on my Nikon mirrorless camera that I use to film my videos with. And on the whole, it's not bad. I did find that the microphone in that camera was a bit oversensitive, and so the sound wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible, and I think it would have been acceptable. But in order to give myself the best chance of getting good quality, I actually bought this Rode VideoMic Pro as part of my recording setup to improve the quality of my audio. Now, this Rode mic is really interesting. It's good quality, it has a built-in battery, and it outputs to a standard 3.5mm jack, which is great. But I was struggling in the rooms that I record in because I don't exactly use a specific studio room. There's no soundproofing in here. It's quite echoey, in fact, especially in this current room that I record in. So I was struggling to get great sound from the Rode. In fact, to get the best sound, you really want it within a meter or a meter and a half of your subject, and I was using it 2 or 3 meters away from me. So I ended up moving to a lav mic, such as this one here. You can actually see it clipped onto my shirt collar at the moment. And lav mics, or lapel mics, are really good at picking up the sound directly around you because that microphone is literally connected to you. And that's another great way to get sound if you want to try and reduce the background noise because it's only really recording the area around me. Now, there is some echo, but it's very easy to actually edit that out in post-production if you have very clean audio to begin with. I really struggled to do that with this Rode mic. Now, I'm not knocking shotgun mics because in all honesty, shotgun microphones are a fantastic choice for people that are able to get that microphone fairly close, are able to aim it directly at the person they're recording or indeed themselves, and loads of people get fantastic quality sound from them. In fact, you can get mics that are shotgun style that started around £30, such as this little one here, all the way up to well over 1,000. So it's not like there's not enough choice. But personally, when it comes to recording something like this, I just find a lapel mic gives you a little bit more flexibility. You can move around. For instance, if I had my shotgun mic set up and it was aimed over here and I now move over here, I'm not going to get as good sound quality as I did when I was in this position. Whereas obviously the lav mic is moving with me. It doesn't matter where I move to. So if you're quite active in your style of videos, it might give you a bit of an advantage. But when we're talking about microphones, I mean, which should you buy? Should you buy a £30 microphone? Should you buy a £150 shotgun microphone? Should you buy a £1,000 shotgun microphone? Well, unfortunately, I don't think anyone can really answer that question for you. And I think when it comes to sound, a lot of experimentation is required to get the best quality. Personally, I genuinely find that the lapel mic is the easiest to get your head around because there's not as many setup options that you have. So with this, really for me, it's sort of plug, play, and then adjusting sensitivity on the camera. So you need to think about, what level of sound issues that you have. Is it that, can you get that microphone quite close, in which case why not try a shotgun microphone? Or is it the case that you're actually going to want to try something like a lapel mic? And the important thing is that you can start off very cheap. So this lapel mic costs, I think it's around £15 to £20 off Amazon. It's really cheap. But the quality isn't bad. And I'll show you some sound tests in a few minutes so you can get an idea of what it's like to record with these external mics. Now, of course, as I said, you can be recording your audio from the device that you're using as well. And that, for many people, is a great option because if you're happy with that quality of audio, you might not want to upgrade. But there can be some challenges when you're using built-in audio. So for one, you might struggle if you're recording outside and it's windy. Now, if you're using something like a shotgun microphone, you can actually use what's called a dead cat, I believe, because they look like dead cats when they're sitting in there if you have like a broadcast style one, but you can mount that on top of your Rode mic and it will really minimize the amount of wind noise or wind buffeting that you get in your sound. So if that's the challenge that you have, you may want to look at a shotgun microphone with a dead cat in order to improve your sound quality. You can actually get the same for lavalier mics, and if you watch my Tesla home battery Powerwall review, you actually notice that this has a sort of dead cat on top of it in order to reduce the amount of wind noise, and it worked perfectly. So if you have a specific situation, you should think about how using different types of audio recording technologies might improve it. Now, the big elephant in the room is your device actually capable of dealing with an external audio input? And that's really important. If you're using a phone, chances are you could use a Bluetooth microphone, or that you could use an adapter. So for instance, a USB-C to 3.5mm input, or an Apple Lightning to 3.5mm inputs to allow you to use an external microphone. Or if you're using a digital camera, you might not have a 3.5mm input, at which point the entire exercise is kind of null and void. Now, there are ways to externally record audio, then sync it with your video later and use that. And in fact, that's what I do in each of my videos. But if you're just starting out, that might not be something that you want to do. If it is something you're interested in, keep an eye on this series, because I am going to be looking at external audio recording in a future video. But for now, let's talk about the different kinds of sound you're going to get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use each of these different pieces of equipment to record the sound, and I'm going to talk you through what I'm using, and then you can make up your own mind whether the sound quality is good or not. In terms of how I'm conducting this test, just so you know, I'm going to record all of them for now directly into the camera rather than using my external recorder. And some of these, such as the lav mics, are going to go via my Sennheiser XSW-D recorder. It just gives me a wireless way of inputting this into the camera. And the shotgun mics I'm going to mount on top of the camera, and I'm going to move them in various ways and tell you the distances so you can get an idea of what I'm using, so you can make your mind up of what you think sounds best. So first off, I'm not going to actually do a separate sort of video part for this, but this is the sound directly from my Sennheiser XSW-D system and the Sennheiser ME1 lavalier mic that I use with my standard setup. So I've now connected up my Amazon lapel mic. This is a much cheaper alternative to the Sennheiser ME1 that I usually use. It costs around £15, but I think this should give you an idea of what a very cheap lapel mic sounds like. This is connected through the Sennheiser XSW-D, but I don't think you'll see any difference in quality versus using this to record it and plugging it directly into the camera. It's just because it's a bit easier with the cable that I've got it plugged into here. But this just gives you an idea of what the sound quality is like if you use a cheap lapel mic. So now we're trying the Rode Video Mic Pro. This is roughly 2.5 meters away from me. So a little bit further away than it would be in ideal situations, though it is pointed directly at my face. This is a sound quality that you get straight out of the camera. It's not bad, I don't think. I don't want to influence you too much, but I certainly don't prefer it over the lav mic that I usually use. But this just gives you an idea of what a shotgun mic would sound like from around 2.5 meters away. So please excuse the slightly odd way I'm recording this. I couldn't figure out another way of getting this to stay up on my tripod, so I've just mounted it on another camera. But essentially, this is what happens when you use the Rode Video Mic Pro from about 1 meter away, which I think is an ideal distance when it comes to using a shotgun microphone. It's literally within 1 meter of my face. I think it's a very realistic use case, and this will give you an idea of what the sound quality is like if you can mount it that close. Now, personally, I always struggle with mounting something that close because it's hard not to get it in shot like it is now. But if you can sort of have your camera mounted quite close instead of using a wide-angle lens, then this is definitely an option you probably will want to consider. And this is the sound quality if you're using the built-in microphone on a Nikon Z6 II. I've set it to automatically handle sensitivity, though I usually lock it off at 1 or 2 out of 30 in order to get the best quality possible when I'm recording. But this will give you an idea of what the sound is like if you're just using it built in on the camera as it was made by Nikon. I think you'll probably agree this is the least good of the various different types that I've shown you. I did want to show you the little shotgun microphone, but I can't seem to get that to work at all. not entirely sure what happened to that, so I'm going to have to leave that one in this case. But yeah, so this gives you an idea of what the sound quality is like with the built-in microphones. So at the end of the day, I don't actually think there's a right or wrong answer. You've heard the various audio samples, and I think some sound better than others to me, but they might not to you. In fact, why not comment below with your favourite? But you need to decide what's right for you. Perhaps you're perfectly happy with the built-in audio of your device, in which case, please continue. If, however, you want to consider a shotgun microphone, something like the Rode VideoMic Pro or VideoMic Pro Plus is definitely worth considering. If you want to go slightly higher tier, something like Deity or even Sennheiser makes some fantastic shotgun mics designed for YouTubers or indeed those using mirrorless cameras. But when it comes to lav mics, there's so many different choices. Why not start off with something cheaper like this £15 from Amazon? Work out whether you like it or not, and then decide whether you want to move to something slightly more expensive but slightly more higher premium quality. In my next video, I'm going to be looking specifically at my personal setup, and I'm going to talk you through how I record my videos with regards to audio, hopefully to give you an idea of the kind of quality I achieve and how I do it. And it will give, hopefully, you an idea about how you can enhance your audio based on my setup, or indeed feel free to critique it and add some more comments of your own as well. So I hope you found this useful. If you'd like, please do subscribe for more in this series. In my next video, I'm going to be looking at my setup and talk you through how I create my videos with regards to audio, so you can get an idea of how I do it, and perhaps that might influence your decision. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. The other button works too. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. It really does help the channel, and I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you again next time. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.